Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast, wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands, not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. Never know who's gonna walk through the door. There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with our special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. I don't know why he's so quiet. It's weird, but
Well, you know, Justin, it hasn't been just you and me in the studio for a while. We've had a lot of guests lately, and I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes the show just kind of gets real chaotic, and a lot of weird shit happens. And I just felt the need to kind of take things down a notch this week.
I mean, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
We can do that.
yeah.
Is it?
No, I can't keep that bit up. No,
Okay.
we're here. It's a Stage Select.
I mean, I would. I'm just always this tone. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like the first episode in a full month where it's just the two of us.
It is kind of weird, but at the same time, kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of little back to normal, whatever normal is for
The new
the
normal.
Stage Select.
I don't
The
know.
new normal. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so sick of the new normal.
Who isn't? It's stupid.
Although I guess before we get too deep, Justin,
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know what this is.
breaking news. We are on a new recording format for the show. I thought it was worth announcing just in case shit goes down, because look, y'all, we used Skype the whole damn time
Yeah,
we've been
it
podcasting.
was
We
fun.
went down with the ship.
Yeah.
Literally last week, we were still recording on Skype with Weston.
Oh yeah.
Apparently it's still up right now as we're recording but
I just looked, and yeah, it looks like it still works, but yeah,
yeah.
hard to say.
But we've just to be on the safe side, we've moved over. We're using Zencaster now, where it's actually a premium version of it. So
yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I will say that we already recorded episode 2 of Cinemorons this evening, and that went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
So hopefully everything is good.
Yeah, hopefully it's
I
fine.
have told Richard Harden to be extra vigilant for phantom sightings. So
Yeah, you
he's on the
never know.
case as always.
You never know.
One thing that I forgot to say in the episode of Cinemorons, but this is a nice way to kind of promote the show, because I'm having a blast doing that show, I must say.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because we did Perfect Blue, and I got to say, Justin,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be thinking about that movie for a while.
it's. I mean, you can see why I thought about it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I really should watch that again. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That episode will probably be coming out after this one goes up, just because I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I want to see if
Sure.
I can maybe find a couple clips to put in there. But like I said, when we recorded the episode, most of the stuff that I've found has been in Japanese, so that's not
Yeah.
necessarily all that useful in
Yeah.
a podcast form.
I wish I could make clips, but when I played the Blu-ray, it immediately yelled at me because it detected my capture card. I was like, "Oh right, I forgot I even had it hooked up through that."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I found that fascinating that I tried to play a Blu-ray because I had it. It just all it is just it's like a pass through and then goes to the PC. It didn't even have the PC on, but it immediately was like, "Yo, what the fuck you trying to do?" I was like, oh right, I forgot. It doesn't say exactly that. It says like something like,
Well, obviously,
you have to. Hey, make sure whatever your input is has some sort of rights thing going is turned on. And I was like, what the fuck is it? Immediately I was like, did I buy the wrong version of this? Is this like region locked and I fucked up? And I was like, oh man, that sucks. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. And then I unhooked that and I was like, and sure enough, that's what it was. So yeah. Capture cards. I have 2 of them now.
Oh my.
Yeah,
because you're doing console and PC, right?
Yeah, well, no, you don't need a capture card for the PC. That you can just do from wherever. I don't like the one that I'm currently using. It keeps kind of getting weird on me, and you have to use it through like a window, and it gets awkward, and it started to piss me off. So I got a different one, and we'll see how it goes.
I see.
I don't know if it'll be any better, but I don't know. The one I was using just keeps it does weird shit. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like it. Genki Shadow Box. It's not super great. Don't suggest it. But maybe it's the best one too. I don't know. But if I try this other one and it's a dud, then I'll know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just know Elgato. That's
the one I bought to replace it with. Because I'm like, yeah, I know that name, and it's like looking up reviews for stuff. Like I was like, okay, this one seems like the better one.
Yeah,
maybe we'll try it.
Well, just one quick announcement before we hop into the episode. The poll for the next Suffer Select is closed, and for next month we will be playing Desert Bus.
All right.
So, and I do want to say one serious stipulation, Justin,
okay,
because I know you, I know me. The way that this has to work is that we can't listen to anything while we're playing it.
Oh no, that's fine.
So
yeah,
no podcast, no music.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine.
Because like I love a road trip, and I will listen to entire seasons of No One Can Know About This, like on the way to Colorado Springs, and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But in the vein of actually driving a bus that, not known for its like banging sound system. Yeah. I think that's the way to do it.
I wish we could recreate a bus sound system and then play I don't know what was popular when I was riding the bus. I don't know. Probably Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray was pretty popular when I was riding the bus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was they came out with I Just Want to Fly, or whatever what was it called? I don't know the name of that song. God, they played that on the bus all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that was as good as we could get it.
I did appreciate that. I think their second album was called 1459 because their 15 minutes was almost up. Thought that was pretty clever.
Oh, Sugar Ray's fascinating actually. Because they were a one-hit wonder. I mean, they
had more than one.
No. I hold on. Let me finish. I messed up how I wanted to phrase that. They weren't a one-hit wonder. They were positioned to be one. They had all the signs that this is a one-hit wonder, because most of the time when a group is a one-hit wonder, what ends up happening is the song that gets popular from their album is nothing like the rest of their album. And that's the case of Sugar Ray. Fly was like, I believe, the last song on the album, something like that. And the rest of the album is like a thrash punk album or something. Like it's like a punk rock album. But they also had this one song that just happened to be really popular and people liked. So when people bought the album, they're like, what the fuck is this? And just flipped to the one song, right? But then they went, oh, well, that was, let's switch our style to that. And then they had more hits, Then they had, Every Morning and all that stuff. And
that makes sense, yeah.
Fascinating story, Sugar Ray. God bless Mark McGrath. I don't know, maybe he's terrible. I haven't heard about Mark McGrath in some time.
Last I saw him, he was like a correspondent on Entertainment Tonight, and I don't even know if Entertainment Tonight is around anymore.
Well, he did his best,
Yes. Just like we do with this podcast every week.
Yeah, you could say that.
That's a transition. Works as good as any other.
Yep.
Justin, I'm very curious. What have you been up to?
Not a whole heck of a lot. I haven't gotten to play as much stuff as I really want to.
Me either.
Yeah, which has been a bummer. I'm still kind of, talking to my friend who's going through stuff. They're actually out in Texas right now, which is funny. But because their sister lives there, and I was like, yeah, get away from stuff. That's a good idea. I get it. But talking to them on and off. But the only thing I've really messed with is Expedition 33, which I like. But I haven't got to play it as much as I really want to.
How far are you?
I am. Let's see. What did I just do today? I'm not that far. I have a feeling you're probably further than me, unless you haven't played it that much. But
Have you gotten a fourth character?
yeah.
Okay.
I kind of just got them. So
Okay. So you probably haven't gotten your mount yet.
no, I got that guy today. That's
Okay.
what I did. Yes.
Okay, so you're pretty close to where I'm at.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm about, like, I think it's funny. This is like, I've got a lot of like bones to pick with this game, and one of the big ones is that you cannot make a hard save.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I also have quite a few issues with it. So overall, I like it, and I know why I like it. And it's a weird comparison, but I'm gonna make it anyway. The comparison that I keep making, just in terms of feeling, is Sifu. When I nail a battle, like when I actually am doing really good and am on my shit and really focused, I get the same feeling as when I absolutely dominate a room in Sifu, and that's what kind of keeps me going with it and liking it. And there's definitely times where I get my ass handed to me, and I'm like, okay, all right, but I don't mind it as much here. It's sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be tough, but a lot of the time I'm just no, it put me right back where I was, and I can just go do the fight again and no problem, and I'm kind of doing my thing and just kind of sitting there okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna learn this fight and I'm gonna get used to it, and I kind of really like that about it. Most of my major things, and the thing I've found it's not repelling me from it. It's causing some strife, and it's a choice for sure. And it's something Weston complained about, and I'm gonna parrot it here, is the lack of a map, or just overall hey, this is the direction towards progress, is really kind of annoying.
I don't even necessarily need the light, pointing me in the direction that the objective is. Although I do appreciate, so the first game I ever remember doing that was Fable 2. And I remembered really appreciating it because it told me where it was okay, then I'm not going to go that way. I'm not
going to go that way. Right. Yes.
Yeah. At least not yet. I'm going to go,
right.
I know that's critical
we're going to go that way, but let me explore everything first. And here, oftentimes I find I just accidentally stumble into progress, and then I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're here now, so fuck it, we'll do this. And I kind of find that depressing, and it almost makes me, and he said the same, Weston said the same thing, where he was yeah, and then I'm kind of there, and I don't want to do anything else, I just keep going, and I keep finding myself doing that exact same thing, where I'm just yeah, I don't really want to go back, let's just keep going.
Well, so the other day I said I want to go back because I remembered really early on, you encounter one of the enemies called the Nevrons, and it's disabled and it's asking for light.
Yes.
And because the game doesn't keep track of any side quests or anything that either. And I was like, okay, let me go back there and see if I've got the thing that he's wanting. And so I went to go fast travel, and I was like, why don't I have the option to fast travel? And so then I went back out to the world map. I was like, maybe you have to fast travel from the world map. And I still didn't have the option. And I was like, maybe it's from camp. So I went to camp, and it still didn't give me the option. And I looked it up. And the way fast travel works, at least initially, is that you can only fast travel between expedition flags within a bespoke area.
Oh, so you have to walk all the way back there.
Yeah.
And-
And I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will get the ability to fast travel between expedition flags. And I'm like, why is that an unlock?
Yeah, that's a little much.
Especially because there are so many obvious optional bosses that are where it's like, you're really not supposed to fight this right now, so come back later.
They even tell you a lot of which I appreciate. I always appreciate when a game does that, where it's like, hey, just stay away from that right now. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll stay away from that. It does look big and intimidating, so yeah, let's not go over there. There are some fights that I've wandered into where I'm like, no, this feels doable. I think I can do this. And there was all the mimes I haven't had too big of a problem with. Those are kind of fun fights.
Really?
Yeah.
I was only able to beat the first one in the prologue, and the rest of them have wrecked my shit.
Yeah.
Because it's a thing where it's like, oh, you one-shot me, and I do like 15 hit points of damage to you.
Right.
So
most of it's about once you land the big overload shot with Gustav, they start to really go down fast. But it's all about getting to that point. And it is a survive until you make it to here. Which is not always easy. It's pretty tough sometimes. But I found those fights kind of fun. There was a fight with an enemy called a trumpeter. And it was just like, it was in the floating waters place, or the waters dungeon or whatever that was, and he was kind of off around this like corner, and I just happened to see him. I was like, oh, I bet that's like an optional like hard fight to get through. Like, yeah, let's try it. And if he kicks the shit out of me, I'll move on. And like I was like, no, I feel like I stood a chance there. Like, let me go back and actually try that. And like after, it took me like 2 or 3 tries, but like I started like nailing the timing and getting what he was doing, and like I had a real good time beating that fight. And when I did it, like I said, it felt like Sifu all over again, where I was like, yeah, I fucking learned that shit. I got it down and got the pattern and fucking wrecked that dude. And I can't remember what I got for it.
I'm really disappointed to hear you say that, because I was like, let Justin be like in the same boat that I'm at, which is can't react to shit and just getting my shit rocked constantly. Yeah. That has been my ultimate issue, but I don't want to move past the map thing yet. No, because
it's a major thing.
It's a major thing, and it's one of those things where, because I like to role play, right? That's why it's one of the reasons I like role playing games. And there are certain things that I can't stand when it breaks my immersion. And the fact that you have literally been training to go on an expedition.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to draw a fucking map.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
And then even beyond that, and then I'm like, did they never, like in all of these expeditions before, they never thought to send somebody back to say what they had learned? Like, I feel like every expedition should have a scout that at a certain point they're like, okay, it's time for you to go back.
Somehow they've learned about this. I'm curious if they go into anything like that, right? Because somehow they've learned because they know the Nevrons exist. Like, we expected Nevrons, we prepared for them, but I don't know how exactly they know about them, because they're sending all these people to their death essentially. So maybe they go into that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not.
I hope that they do. And then there's the other part, and I mentioned it last week, where it's like, I can't imagine that like, at year one, when she painted 100, that it really like affected their world at all. Yeah, it feels to me like it would be a few years before they understood what was going on.
Right, you feel like yeah.
I'm really curious if they delve into that, because it's interesting that like they went on an expedition immediately, and it's like, what, maybe one person like disappeared. Right. Then? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Or
tough to say.
Yeah, I do find it to be a very fascinating world.
I do too.
I'm liking, because like I'm like, is this supposed to be like actual like Earth that has been shattered, and like this was actually like France that we're dealing with, or is it like an alternate reality? What's going on? Because like there's a part where you see like what looks like a big Ferris wheel.
Okay.
And one of the characters is like, oh, people used to go on dates on that thing, and Gustav is like, no, I think that's actually like from Expedition 50, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, God, you're such a pill. Like you're just like so fucking boring, and you're always about the mission. But no, it turns out that's actually what it is.
Yeah.
It was a vehicle made by Expedition 50
Okay.
to explore, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like that's even weirder than
weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Interesting though.
It is interesting.
Yeah, no, the map thing, it drives me nuts. I don't.
Yeah.
I know what they're going for, right? They really are going for the
wandering into the unknown.
That and the combo of this is a turn-based RPG meets Dark Souls, which, you know, Dark Souls doesn't have a map. That's part of what it does.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
That's, I mean, they're even like the way the weapons work and how they scale with, like, you know, your certain stats and stuff like that. They're really going hard into some of that stuff. I really like that system. Like, I think it works well for weapons and shit like that. But this is,
I think the weapon stat scaling in this is much better and much clearer than any of the FromSoft stuff.
100%. And they're a lot more clear on that stuff. But they're also incorporating like elements that I don't think really work well together with a turn-based RPG like this, and the map thing is one of them. Because like, yeah, it actively just kind of makes me go, okay, I made it through, and I'm getting lost a lot, and I'm just like, I go in circles. Dark Souls, it's kind of like part of the thing, or, you know, Souls games, it's kind of like part of the thing. I'm a little lost, but their level design is so good that like, usually you can kind of figure out where you are.
Literally, up until the moment when you said that Dark Souls games don't have maps, it didn't occur to me that they don't have maps because the level design is so fantastic that it doesn't matter.
It was a big deal that Elden Ring had a map. Because, you know, like it was, but it's only the world map. That's it. And usually,
when you're in dungeons, you're still left to your own devices.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta kind of figure it out, and that's part of it. But
this ain't that
this
type of
that,
level design.
And it's not that type of level design. It's not that type of game, because like the getting lost thing and then wandering into an ambush is part of Dark Souls, but you're not gonna really do that here. You're getting in a fight. It's not the same, you know, like it. I just don't think that element works.
So I'm not having trouble like finding my way. If anything, the problem is that I'm finding my way too well, and I know that I'm missing a lot of shit.
Yeah. That's it's that, or like there have been a couple levels. Actually, as stupid as it sounds, I got lost in the Gestro village or whatever. Because I was like, okay. The thing ended, and they're like, okay, go do this, and we've opened up this other path, and I was like, okay, so is that here? So I wandered around for like half an hour, like, is there something here? And then eventually I figured out, no, I think I'm just supposed to leave. And then everything kicked off as soon as I was like, why don't you just tell me to leave? Like, couldn't we just have a pointer that says, oh, this is progress over here, you can leave? I'm like, okay, great, thank you, perfect, that's all I want. It's just one of those elements, like, I know what they're going for, I just don't like it that much. There's got to be a better way to do that. But overall,
there's a couple things that would really help me. One is I'm begging for this game to have random battles, because in a game where it's all about like learning the patterns of these enemies, it kind of sucks when, and I've noticed it, where it's like I've been playing this for 10 minutes and haven't gotten into a fight. And so it's kind of hard to like get enemy attack patterns down when you're hardly ever fighting. Okay, so
thinking like it's a Souls game, so thinking like it's a mix of that. When you find an expedition flag, if you rest at it, it respawns everybody. So that is a way to go and learn the fights, is to rest, respawn them, and then go fight them again.
Sure, but that's not the way that I'm going to, like, I'm not going to do that. Like,
I get it.
You know,
I get it.
When I get to a flag, it's like, okay, like I rested, I leveled up, and now I'm moving on, right? Like, because I honestly, until last night, it was literally last night where I was like, oh, I guess the enemies respawn when you rest at a flag. I didn't even think about that because I've always been moving forward. So it was never a thing. The other thing is that because I was having just a terrible time for the first few hours, like because it would be a thing where it's like I can't react to any of this shit, and I wasn't. So I should say I've only seen a game over screen I think like twice.
Okay.
Usually I'm able to either escape the battle when I realize that it's not going my way, or I've like barely squeaked by and then I heal with one of the flasks. Sure. But even so, like it has not felt good where it's like I barely survived that. Like I ate every hit that you know came at me. Like literally, like I could feel myself pressing the button after the damage had already been taken because that was the react time for me. Yeah. And that's for dodge. That's not for parry. I'm not even attempting parries. Yeah. But then I got to the area around the Gestural Village and in the Gestural Village, and I was like, these are the enemies that you should have started the game with.
Interesting.
They're much slower. Their telegraphs are much easier to read. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then I felt that it was clicking where I was like, I'm dodging more than I'm getting hit. I'm not trying to parry, but I'm at least dodging most of it. Sure. And that's starting to feel really good. And then after that, it started to like fuck with me again. But so my mitigation has been that like I've just pumped Gustav with defense. Like he's got like 100-something defense right now. So if anything, like he's got a pretty good chance of surviving shit. Yeah. And then, I don't like the item system in this game. But,
I kind of admittedly feel opposite of you on that. I actually really dig it. And this is part of like the Souls influence that I do kind of find like, and I like the respawning enemies thing at the essentially bonfires at the expedition flags type of thing, because I always feel like it's kind of perfectly balanced from flag to flag. Like when
the pacing between the flags is really good.
Right.
Like, usually by the time that I need to rest, I find a flag.
Yeah, usually when I'm like, okay, I'm running low on everything that I have, and then I see a flag, I'm like, okay, perfect. Yeah, that was, I nailed that. All right, great. But yeah, like I dig that. Like you can level up the resources. It kind of feels like, it's like Elden Ring and stuff like that, where you're just like, yeah, I'm getting this stuff to level up these resources, and I have more of them, or they're more powerful, and this is what I have until I get to the next rest point, and until then I got to use what I have effectively and efficiently.
For me, I think the big issue has been that like all of the healing is so far for me has been pretty ineffectual, where it's like, all right, like this guy can do like 60% damage on a hit and I'm healing for like 20. Yeah. Or something like that. So it doesn't feel like I'm actually like gaining much ground when I do go to heal.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. I've found it to be pretty fine for the most part. A lot of the best thing is just because it's such a timing based game, and like it really wants you to learn the fights and the timing and stuff. The revive item has been like a godsend a lot of the time, where I'm just like, I just need him to be standing, like, and then I can dodge, or like maybe they'll focus on somebody else or something like that. I just need all my guys to be standing up and in the fight. Because most of the time I'm not afraid of the game over screen. I kind of just go, okay, you got me. Now I think I get the timing a little bit more, and I'll go.
I really wish that it would let you restart the fight at a game over screen instead of taking you back to the last autosave.
Yeah, sometimes I found the autosaving to be pretty generous, but I could definitely agree with you where I wish you could just jump right back into the fight. I will say that. Cause
especially for this game where you can easily get like wrecked
you can get
in a couple
rocked.
hits.
You definitely want it to be an option though, because there are some times where you wander into a fight, you're like, I don't stand a chance on this. No, let's move on to let's avoid this guy. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I'm digging the timing-based combat, but I could definitely see where it would be a put-off to other people.
And man, and I feel so alone because like people are, and it is such a Western game. It is such a hard mode bro game where like, you know, I joked about it a little bit last week, but no, it really is like the get good people are all over this game.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
And like,
I'm sure.
Like
yeah.
Pat and Wooly are you know, they're just like, oh man, it's so easy. You should really turn it up to expert, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, because you guys play like nothing but fighting games and action games on the hardest difficulty. So like this is all baked into you.
Yeah.
I grew up playing RPGs for a fucking reason.
yeah.
And
No.
it sucks to play like something in my favorite genre that's turn-based and be like, oh, I'm not good enough for this.
Yeah.
And part of it, and so this game has been doing very well, and I'm glad it's doing well. I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
It's the main thing that I played this week.
Mm.
And it's one of those weird things where I'm oddly compelled to keep going back to
Me
it.
too.
Like
Yeah.
there was like other stuff. I'll talk about it later, but like, you know, I'm actually already behind on Persona 4 simply because I was like, when I had time to play games, I was like, no, more Expedition.
Yeah, like
let's
I'm
play
gonna
more
I
Expedition.
this weekend I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna play it tomorrow and because I played it today when I got home and then I had to do some stuff and I couldn't really dial in on it like I wanted to, but like, you know, I got the mount and was I wandered into a random dungeon, and then like one other thing I kind of dig that I didn't know it was doing is a lot of the like little side places that you can go on the world map are like, some of them are just like one screen, and I was like, oh
Yes.
oh, that's kind of neat. I don't know what I expected when I went to one. I was like, oh, this is probably like a side dungeon. It's not telling me danger or anything, so let's try it out. And then I was like,
the one you're talking about, and there was nothing there.
No,
Like, I was like,
yeah, I got a record. I was like, all right, yeah, cool.
oh right, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
yeah.
I do love the implementation of an overworld. I hope that with the popularity of this game that like it makes like people kind of they're like, no, yeah, it's time to go back to that, right?
Yeah.
If anything, I wish that the characters were a little bit more like stylized and smaller on the map, just to give you that sense of
scale,
how big everything is.
Yeah, and that is the one place that you have a map at, which is helpful because you know but at the same, and that one gives you an objective. But I just wish there during the dungeons, because it does in this genre in particular, just kind of. There's also probably a way to do it with just pure level design, but I don't think they've achieved it here, at least not so far. You know.
And so what I was getting at is that like, the success of this game, I'm hoping that they take the Larian approach, which is, this game was like way more successful than we thought it was. We're going to spend some of that money to make the game even better.
Right.
Because there are like just like certain accessibility options that I think are missing from this game that would be helpful. Like Vinny on Nextlander was talking about like the colored stains for Lune, like he can't tell what they are.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like the colorblind mode isn't a good version of that for him.
Sure, yeah.
I would like I said, if they don't give me the option to open up the window a little bit to compensate for my poor reaction
on
time.
PC, there's a mod for it, which is funny.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
If not that, then I wish that there was an option to put symbols, because like there is a symbol for the jump.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at the lack of like visual indicators for that. Like, or like even the option to like turn them on and off, you know. That is one thing because when I first started it, I was kind of like, I have a feeling this timing based stuff is really going to turn me off of it, because this isn't really what I come to the genre for. And then as I started to play it, I was like, I'm actually kind of digging this, like that, like, because again, in that Sifu sense where I just was like, that felt good. Like, I don't know what it was, but that felt really good. And but at the same time, like watching it and going, but what's the tell for the like when to dodge and when to parry and stuff like that, and then kind of realizing like, no, you just kind of got to feel it out. And I was like, yeah, I wish there was a little bit more of an indicator, but like I learned the way I've been doing it is just, and I think this is actually kind of good like monster design for the most part. A lot of the times, if you're watching the arms or what they're going to swing at you, you usually can figure it out the timing wise. Like as there's one that like it takes
usually figure it
I'm
out.
sorry. I know. I'm not trying to be one of those. But like there's one that like, you know, will like kind of lean back and like as soon as their arm goes forward, if you're dodging you'll like perfect dodge it. And then as I figured that I was like, oh cool, all right, got it. And there's one where like their arms glow when they're about to charge at you, and usually if you hit the button as soon as they do that, you're good. Stuff like that.
But I think that's been the issue for me, is that like it's not consistent. So like to me, it's like, well, if you just made it to where like right before impact, that would make sense to me, because that's usually how this shit works. But sometimes it's not. Stephanie Sterling had a really great video about this where they were like, hey, I love this game, but I suck at it. Yeah. And they went through, there was like, you know, sometimes it's a visual indicator, sometimes it's audio, sometimes it's a rhythm-based thing. It's like,
I agree.
You got to hit it on the beat, but not all the time. Sometimes it's off the beat.
The trumpeter was a rhythm-based thing. It would do a music cue before it, and that was the cue on how to dodge it, but it was delayed. It was kind of cool how to do it, and you had to figure it out. But like, yeah, no, I totally agree. There's a lot of like consistency issues on that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I should say that like it hasn't been all doom and gloom, right? Like there have been times where I've gotten through battles without taking any damage.
Yeah.
Because I dodged everything. There was I said it was a boss, but it wasn't really a boss. It turned out to be a regular enemy that was presented as a boss originally. It's one of those gestural guardians with the shield. And
okay. Yeah.
And it like annihilated me. Like at first, because like if you hit it when its shield is up, like it does a counterattack that can practically wipe your party.
Yes.
And I didn't know that the first time that I fought it.
That guy kicked my ass too. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing was that I could not get the timing on most of his attacks.
Right.
And then the second time that I fought him, I annihilated him, but it wasn't because I did anything different or I was any better at the dodging or parrying. It was that I just lucked out that he didn't do the attacks that I couldn't react to.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
But there's an enemy, and I don't know if you've seen this one yet. This might be in the, like, I might be like one area ahead of you.
It's possible.
But there's this enemy that's like a sword fighter. It's like a huge broadsword.
Okay.
And it has, like, when the battle starts, it's got like 5 armor on it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him
what
yet.
it does before it attacks, it does seppuku, which does damage to itself. But it upgrades their attack, and so it does, like, their normal attack is a 3-hit combo. It's a party-wide swing, and then a jump party-wide swing.
Okay.
I think the first time that he hit me with that, I dodged the first swing because the sword is so long and it's so slow that like the timing for the dodge is what you would expect it to be for a weapon that big.
Sure.
So I dodged the first one perfectly. The very first time. The second one I just didn't know was coming, so I got hit by that.
Yeah.
But then because of the jump indicator thing, I knew to jump. So like the very first time that it attacked me, I evaded 2/3 of that attack.
Yeah.
And since it's become one of my favorite enemies to fight because I have gotten the timing down.
Right.
But again, it's because like that weapon behaves the way that I'm expecting it to.
Right.
And it's slow enough that I can react to it. Most of the stuff is just, I just can't react.
It's not easy.
And that's just for dodge. That's not for, I like I said, I'm not even trying to parry.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Is that like the parry, like, opens up like a aspect of the game that is just basically lost to me, which is that's really where the whole stagger or the breaking thing comes in, because like you get so much like break damage and you do extra damage with your counterattacks. Yeah. If you're really up on the parries.
Admittedly, I don't use parry all that often, especially when I'm learning a fight, but like on the mimes, because they are very similar or whatever, the parry also helps with the breaking stuff, and I did learn like the timing on that stuff. So like, that is probably why I'm getting through those fights a little easier.
And there was like one night that I was like super like distraught and frustrated because I was like, because this is like one of the like, this is the first game I think since Sekiro where I was like, I think I'm just getting old, and I think it's like an age thing, and like then just to like rub salt into the wound, Maximilian Dude was like streaming it that night, and I went to go watch him, and he was fighting like one of those optional super bosses, and it was like he did not miss a parry like the entire time. I watched it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, man, like fuck.
People are just good at video games, Julian. It just happens, you know?
Yeah, and we can't all be Weston.
No, we can't all be good at them. I'm not good at them either.
And so then my other option is like, we'll turn it to easy, but it's like, I don't want to cakewalk through the game, but I do take umbrage with like the description of the normal difficulty, which is parrying and dodging is not required, and it's like it fucking is. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Where it's like, oh yeah, no, you'll be fine if you can't get the timing right. I'm like, well, fuck you. The fuck you will. No, you're gonna get your ass handed to you if you don't at least dodge a few things here and there. Like, you're gonna be fucked.
And that's my thing. Like, just balancing wise, is like either the damage output of the enemies needs to be lower, or like, you know, your healing needs to be better. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't have it both ways, where it's like, oh, these guys hit you like a Mack truck, and also when you go to heal, you're only going to get a small portion of that back.
Sure, I can see that.
So that's been exceedingly frustrating for me.
Yeah.
But then there's certain aspects. So like the fourth character, holy fuck, man!
I really gotta mess with her more. I just got her today.
She's a beast.
Yeah, I do kind of wish you could have 4 characters in your party, but like
I do too.
Yeah,
it's so obviously inspired by Persona in a lot of major ways, and the fact that like you only have 3 party members in the active party is silly to me.
Yeah,
although I do like the fact that if all of them fall, you can then choose to bring in the reserve people.
Oh, that's cool.
You get that option.
Okay, so I'm wondering if there are more party members.
There are. I don't know how many ultimately there are, but there are more party members.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Because we haven't even met Ben Starr's character yet, and
that's
he is
true.
like,
yeah, that's true.
But I do wish that you could like swap characters in and out, like in the battle.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy X.
I kind of wish that too. That was the other thing. I was like, maybe that'd be really cool. Maybe you can do that. Yeah. But I don't think you can. But
like the fourth character, like not only like just out of the gate is she my highest damage dealer without me even leveling her.
Got it.
But like one of her moves heals her, and it heals her for a fuck ton.
Yeah,
it's like the most powerful heal that I've seen in the game so far. I take that back. I just got one for her that when she hits that move, she actually heals the whole party. So that might actually be a little bit of a game changer for me.
There you go. I'll have to start messing with her more. I've been enjoying the combo of Lune and the other Mael. Yes, thank you.
And this is another thing. I appreciate them having all the characters feel very different, right? And that's something that I appreciate. You don't see it too often in RPGs anymore, but I love it when you do see it.
Yeah.
You see a lot of their inspirations on like all over the place. Yeah. And fighting games are definitely a big part of it. And like
for sure.
Lune in particular feels like just the most like off the wall, like Guilty Gear character. I don't understand how she works.
Yeah, with the it's basically spells that you're using power up other spells for the most part. That's kind of how it goes. Like it'll tell you which ones are powering up which ones. They're like almost like inverse elements. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Like I get the basic concept of it, but I think the thing that I don't understand, because like, you know, you'll see parts where it's like it consumes these types of stains to do this effect, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then I don't see, but it's still, I don't see those stains go away, because like it just replaces them with other ones. And I guess for me, it's like it would make more sense if like you're using up those stains for this effect,
right?
And then they're gone from the board, and you know what I mean? Like, so and also I guess whatever, you know, this is another thing that I've had to come to grips with myself, and this 100% is because of like the types of RPGs that I played growing up, which were not very build focused. I'm not good at builds.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
For her in particular, it's like these spells aren't really like working together the way that I think they're wanting me to have her work together. So I need to like take another look at her. Like Mael like works, like I understand Mael perfectly.
Yeah, she's cool. Yeah, I just with those two characters, I'm mostly just fucking stack and burn on people and then just letting them die off in the background, which is really fun. But yeah, like I don't know. I've overall I'm digging it. I definitely am going to play some more of it, but it definitely has its share of things that I'm like, I wish this was a little bit different. God, especially the map thing. Like that is That's a real big thing for me.
Yeah, me too.
Story wise and stuff, I've been liking it. I've been intrigued by it for the most part.
I've been intrigued by it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's going.
I'm not digging the majority of the dialogue so far.
I honest to God, Julian, highly disagree with you on that. I remember you saying this last time, and now I will say this: some of the delivery's a little off, and I think that comes from I believe I want to say that a lot of the voice acting is from France or something, but there is some of it comes off as like French, but doing a British accent. It's a little weirder in there.
Oh well, no. I mean, because like Gustav is played by a British guy.
Okay, sure.
And then Mael is played by Shadowheart.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not sure who Luna is. No, so for me, part of it is actual like direction of like it's like vocal direction.
Sure.
Or not even vocal direction. It's more of like cutscene direction. And I mentioned this last week where it's like this weird like stilted like cut to another character to say one word. But I think the big thing for me, and maybe this is an aspect of the expedition because they've been trained for this, is like they're constantly quoting shit.
Yeah, and I think that's constant.
Yeah,
pretty much what it is. They're it's from all the people that have come before them, and they're they're part of a mission type thing and stuff like that. But no, I really dig it, honestly. It actually is one of the few examples, especially in a video game, of like there's a scene between Lune and Gustav where like Gustav is just like, no, we're done. I'm done. I'm going home. Or not that one. He's going to get Mael because he finds out that she's somewhere. And they both like just start yelling at each other, and they're talking over each other and like just like heated, like it would be in a real conversation. And I'm actually like really impressed that they got stuff like that right. I
will say that Gustav, who initially was just like, oh, I can't believe that you're hanging this game on this like milquetoast, what people perceive Cyclops to be.
Sure.
That type of character.
Yeah.
But he has started to grow on me. He has started to exude some personality that he doesn't really show initially, where I'm like, okay, there we go. Yeah. That's some more like interesting, likable character.
I've liked the characters so far. The one I just met, but like even she has like some weird intrigue going on that I'm fascinated by. But like Lune's like obsession with like learning about stuff that are basically fairy tales to her is kind of fun, and like I really like that aspect. And yeah, I don't know, I'm really liking that stuff. We'll see where it goes ultimately, but yeah.
It's an interesting thing because this is like back-to-back years where people are like, oh man, this fucking cast is incredible, and I'm like,
yeah,
they're fine. Like they're I think as much as I appreciate how different they are mechanically in battle.
Sure.
I think a big problem for me is because they are all from the same like unit that has been training together. There's a bit of sameness behind like just kind of the way they behave that, at least for me, that I'm not really digging.
I guess I'm not having that. I just have to agree to disagree with you on that. Yeah.
It's fucking I forget his name, the little bat dude from Metaphor all over again, where people are like, God damn, this is the best character I've ever seen. And it's like, I mean, he's all right. He's got a cool voice.
Yeah. I liked what I didn't get far enough in that game to comment either way, but I did like what I played with him. So, yeah.
But there's been stuff story-wise where I was like, so one thing I should say, and I realized this, and it's probably because like people have been like just like over the moon for the prologue and blah blah blah, and they're like, this is the most incredible intro I've seen to a game. But I mean, your typical hyperbole.
You're a lot of that. Yeah.
But I'm like, this didn't do anything for me, and then I'm like, oh, I know why. It's because I'm so fucking emotionally numb at this point. I am like 100% in Sophie's camp, like his girlfriend that's about to go maj at the beginning of the game, where I'm like, let's pack it in. Like, let's stop having kids. World's ending. Like, fuck it. Like, just I'm over it. And I realize that like it's like a crucial impetus for the whole story. And I'm just like, we already have, like, in our real world, we already have like the ticker. It's just that, like, nobody believes that, like, the countdown is happening.
Yeah.
But here in this world, it's like an actual, like, fucking, like, timer that
basically,
you can visually see.
You can see it. It's right there.
And so me, it's like, in that world, it's like, all right, yeah, let's just, like, fucking be merry while we can, and then just,
and then
we had a good run.
Yeah, we had a good run. Yeah, for sure.
But gotta say, can't be stated enough. Fucking fire of a soundtrack, and I thought, like,
it's real good.
I got to, like, an optional battle yesterday where I was like, oh, I have no bit, like, there's no way.
Yeah,
but, like, the music, it was like bespoke music for that fight. And I was like, God damn,
they constantly killing it. It's the music is incredible. Yeah, I'll be pleasantly surprised if anything beats this out for, like, my favorite soundtrack of the year, because, like, it'll be fucking wild. Wholeheartedly right there with you on that.
For sure.
But
that is Clair Obscure Expedition 33.
Yeah,
sure, we'll talk about it again next week.
Probably. Yeah.
The State Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
I did play some other stuff. We'll get to that later.
For sure.
But before we do that, I think it's a good time to thank our wonderful patrons, Justin.
Sure, why not? We can do that.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's confusing. So so we're not on Skype anymore, and I'm used to minimizing Skype at this moment. So I just minimized the entire window, which is also in the browser. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It's gonna take a bit to adjust.
It's gonna take a bit to adjust. That all I have to do now is click on the other tab right next to everything to read it. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I am excited that I have the option to import music as buttons. Like, it's not the same as what you've got on your Rodecaster.
Yeah.
But, like, there's certain things that I can just, like...
I was wondering how you did that. Or I was like, you got buttons now, motherfucker? All right. Okay. All right.
No way. Two can play. We appreciate all of our lovely patrons. And this being the first episode of the month, it is time to thank everybody. Starting with the executive producer tier, we have Addy XD.
We have Big Baker.
We have Bill Tucker of A Gamer Looks at 40.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Dr. Delicious.
We have Eric Peacock of the Soundtracker podcast.
We have X-Rian.
We have Game Johnson of Retrofits on YouTube.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip PK Becker.
We have Raymond Crum.
We have 60 Wants Weston to know we are here to support him. I was waiting for him to forget to update it, and it's finally here.
It finally is here. We finally... I was too. It was always bound to happen.
Yep.
Here we are. We have Stephen Lobo.
And last but not least, at the executive producer tier, we have Xavier Krager.
You know what? I actively hope now that we've called him out on this, that 60 never updates it, and that it's just always this now.
Right.
That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. But now, see, I've called it out, so now he won't do it. So now the ball's in his court. He's got to come up with it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now they have to. The ball's in their court. That's
we'll see what they do. It would be the ultimate fuck you to us.
Yes.
To just leave it as this, like, in perpetuity.
It absolutely would. After that, we have our associate producer tier. We have Daft Man from an upgrade, apparently.
Yes, from the free tier.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daft Man. We have Jake Smith.
All right. We have John Gholson.
We have Weston Hard Mode of Big Nerd Gaming.
Yes, we have on the key grip tier now Theorend.
Yes, new. I mentioned that last time. Yeah, because they were a new key grip. And then last, but again, certainly not least, in the free tier, we have Lazy Bocas.
We have Aristocratical Chic.
We have Joshua Moncrief.
We have Reese Duff. Reese
yes.
Duff. It's written, yeah.
Thank you to everybody supporting the show and showing interest in the show. It lets us know that there's interest in the show, and whatnot, and lets us do extra stuff like Cinemorons and Suffer Select.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I have played more of the 100-line Last Defense Academy.
Okay.
Haven't played a shit ton of it.
Yeah.
But I probably won't bring it up again until I've put a significant more amount of time into it.
Sure.
But I just want to reiterate, Justin, that this is 100% your shit.
No, I know. I own it. I'm gonna play it.
Okay,
cool. I
cool.
bought it already. I bought it.
Yeah.
I think during that podcast last week, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
So yeah, no, it's on my to-do list. For sure.
There's one character that is continually making a really good case, because when I finished South of Midnight, I was like, oh, I'm fighting hard for Hazel Flood for best character this year. But Darumi in 100 Line is making a really good case, because she's the one who's like, I really want this to be a killing game. Can this be a killing game?
Yeah.
And she's always saying what I'm thinking. Like, she's making all like the reference connections that you, if you've played Danganronpa, you're going to just naturally make.
Yeah, that's fun.
Now that I'm a little deeper, like I've had my like the second like big attack on the school.
Right.
There's some shit that has already happened. Like, this is very early. Like, out of 100 days, I'm on day 10. Just for, so people understand. But like, there are certain implications with what happens after that second like official battle, where it's like, oh, I really want to see where this is going, because there's like you fight a boss, and then it feels like you have a choice after. Well, you do have a choice, but for this first boss, like, there's only one choice that you can make.
Okay. All right.
But the way that it's presented, it's like, okay, I really want to know where this is going to go, because that's not how I thought this was going to go down.
Gotcha.
And also, like, the choice or the perception of choice that I thought I had was not what it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm being super vague, but it's like, it's super fascinating in a way that, like, again, they know who their audience is, and they know that you're constantly going to be trying to like figure out what's going on, and they're playing against that so well.
That's
just
good.
Like they did with Danganronpa 3.
Yeah, three was the ultimate in that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I am super digging it.
Yeah.
Also, a little update to the battle system, because like, I had said like, oh man, like there's not that, like, I don't like that you can't really heal, and like the enemies do like a ton of damage when they swarm you.
Yeah.
And the second fight had 3 waves, and like it was nice to find out a couple things. One is that you actually fully heal between waves, so that's really nice. But the other thing is, because like as I said, like, when your characters get down to critical health, they can do a super move that will kill them, but also take out most of the enemies around them. And I had to do that in the second wave, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. But they were back for the third wave, because that's the way that like in the in-story resurrection mechanic works. Right. And it's like, oh, they really want you to be sacrificing your troops for the greater good, because you're going to get them back, right after the current wave. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Like, they really kind of want you to go like pretty aggressive. Yeah. On the tactics. So that's cool. It's something, man. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to play that.
Yeah.
I definitely plan to.
Other than that, game wise, hasn't been a lot.
Yeah.
I was kind of busy, so like Monday I guested on Games My Mom Found, which I'll actually announce that once the episode is available. Okay. And then I went to see a movie this week, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but and then I've also been trying to watch a little bit, or I've been trying to catch up on like the last bits of Mume and Gura from Hololive, and I gotta say, so I haven't been able to finish the Mume stuff because that's been hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, I believe it.
I watched Gura's last concert on her last day because it was only like half an hour long, and I was like, okay, let me watch this. I'm not as big a Gura fan as I am Mume, so it'll be fine. It was not fine.
Yeah, well,
like she broke during one of the songs.
I see. Okay,
and then I broke when she broke, and like I was like, God damn, like if that was Gura, like I don't know that I can even watch Mume's because like holy shit, it affected me like way harder than I thought it would. But it's also a lot of stuff to watch because like Mume's last live stream was like almost 4 hours long.
Okay,
so
yeah, it's a pretty long stream.
Yeah. And like then Gura had like a talk show type thing that she did that was like almost 3 hours. That I would like to watch. I've seen little clips, but I kind of like to watch the whole thing. So that's been taking up like some game time.
Right.
But like I said, I did play some more of Persona 4.
Okay.
My hope was to get through April before April ended.
Yeah.
But again, kind of a lot of stuff went down this week.
There's a lot of stuff out. Yeah.
And also I've been pretty compelled to keep playing Expedition 33.
Yeah.
So that's been a thing. But I'm in like the first real dungeon of Persona 4. And it's interesting because, and obviously, you know, it's hard to say like what, you know, how much they changed for Persona 3 Reload. So this could be the way that, you know, maybe this is more in line with how the original Persona 3 was. I can't speak to that. Maybe listeners can tell me. I know 60 probably will because they will never not take the opportunity to talk about Persona.
No, they probably won't, Julian.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But pacing wise, it's pretty interesting because like in, you know, what I've played at the Atlas games, right? So Persona 5, Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor, the first dungeon and really the first couple dungeons, the enemies are kind of geared around, you know, most of the abilities that they know you're going to have at that point.
Yeah.
And you're not really going to run into enemies that have like light and dark weakness or have no weaknesses at all. Like no weaknesses at all. That comes pretty late in the games in my experience.
For sure.
That ain't here. There's already like enemies in this first dungeon that are weak to light, dark, which I don't have at all.
Well,
or have no weaknesses whatsoever. And it's like that's a fun challenge to have once you've got more tools in the toolbox, but I don't have very many tools in the toolbox right now.
Yeah, right.
And the other thing that threw me for a loop is that, you know, because this dungeon is 8 floors, I got to floor 5.
Okay.
And all of a sudden the enemies were level like 14 and my character was level 9.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a jump.
That's a pretty big jump, yeah.
And I asked, I was like, is this one grindier than the others? Because like the way that I play these games is that I fight everything that I see.
Yeah.
And I 100% explore a floor before moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that should get you, you know, where you need to be.
Usually that'll get you to the dance. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that is not the case where it's like, oh, I need to like spend some time on these floors and, you know, and that's not, I've never really liked that. Like, again, well, not again. I think I've talked about this on Nerds Without Pants, but like even as far back as like Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah.
Like, most of the RPGs that I've played have been pretty nicely paced, where it's like, as long as you're not running from fights, you're going to be good. And then if you want to overlevel, you can grind to overlevel, right? Or if you want to like get ready for like a side boss or something, that's when you want to grind.
Most of the time they expect you to be kind of just, you know, straight lining a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or you know, or just simply not running from fights.
Yeah,
and you know, as long as you're taking everything on that's you know put in front of you.
Yeah, it's balanced for the most part around that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be the case with Persona 4, at least not so far.
I believe.
You know, we'll see as I get deeper. But like, I made it to like I said, floor 5, and then I was like, I don't really feel like grinding on this right now. And Expedition 33 is right there.
No,
so.
I get it. That sounds tough. I mean, you could also try to like do a couple of the fights where the guys are tougher than you and see how it goes. But I don't know how.
Oh, I mean, I have fought them.
Okay.
But again, it's a situation where it's like the first one that I fought on that floor was like, oh, they're not weak to anything that I've got.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And there's 2 of them. And so it's like, this long slog to like eventually take them down with just like physical attacks, and it's like, oh, that's not great.
Yeah, no, that's pretty rough from the sound of it. Yeah.
And maybe it's a thing where it's just I need to find like more Persona like in this current dungeon.
It's possible. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm kind of at the whim of shuffle time for that and what's available to me.
Right,
and sometimes when it's the choice. So this game, I find that and this is probably because of the grindiness of it.
Sure.
Shuffle time in Persona 4, sometimes you do get, hey, the whole party gets back like HP and SP. So it's
okay.
That's kind of telling me it's like, oh, you expect me to spend some time in here.
Yeah,
like
that's what it seems
the other
like.
two.
Yeah, no, yeah, where the other two are trying to actively push you out. It always seemed like, yeah.
Again, not a deal breaker, like not really a complaint, just an observation.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Oh, wasn't really expecting that, but
yeah, it's still one of those.
Yeah. Now that I'm aware, I'll handle it. But
there you go.
Yeah. I think that's it for me game wise. I meant to play the demo for Metal Eden. You remember that we were talking about on that PlayStation Direct a little bit ago. It was that like Metroid Prime looking like mech game.
Yeah.
There's a demo out for it. And I downloaded it, but I haven't checked it out yet.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I meant to do that this week.
I mean, unless people want to hear about Tennis Angels EX, I mean, I'm good though.
Is that one that I told you about?
Yeah, no, I had already played it before you told me.
I know, but I was just curious if it was that one. Okay.
Yeah, no, that one. Okay, man. Okay, I'll just talk about it real quick because it's stupid. I love a tennis game. It's well documented. If you don't know that, go look at documents. I enjoy them. They're fun. You don't get many of them. But the ones you do, I always try to at least try them. So I seen this one, I was like, okay, that's funny. There's a porn game that is also a tennis game. That's an idea. Fuck it. Let's and looking at it, I was like, this looks like an actual video game. Let's try this. And the tennis part, this is what pisses me off about the game. The tennis part's actually fun. Like I was like, hey, this is actually pretty good, but everything around it is too much. Like it's too much. Like, okay, sure. The right from the jump, your character's name is Mole Esther. And I was like, okay, okay. All right. Okay. So it's
not subtle.
No, not at all. The storyline is okay. There's these tennis angels. They're the tennis club of this school. They're highly coveted. They're very prestigious. They're gonna win the championship and all this stuff. But their tennis coach has just their handsome tennis coach has just died. So they hire this really out of shape middle-aged man who has a history of sexual misconduct, we'll say. And so now he's going to enact his plan to basically, do this with the new tennis team. And it's like wildly uncomfortable. Like, I'm just like, this is not okay. This is not okay. And I play the tennis and I'm like, but the tennis is fun. Fuck. I hate this game. But I wanna like it. I'm just like, could you just tone it down like a little? Can we just have the handsome tennis coach? And he's like, oh yeah, making the team better, and yeah, now we're gonna do whatever outside of the tennis court. No, we have to make it weird and creepy, or I can't get it up anymore. It's so fucked up. I hate it.
Okay, well, I have to ask.
Sure.
Is it that like he's doing like coercion and stuff that is like really skirting the bounds of legality?
Yes.
To like it's not that like they're just they're kind of just naturally like falling for him because porn.
No. His first gambit is he finds the one that's the outcast, Julian. And he basically but he goes, okay, this girl has talent, but none of the other girls like her, so she's my in. But I have to convince her that she sucks unless I'm her coach, and I will not coach her unless she has sex with me. So we start here. Now we go to then we go to like, okay, we have now, taught this girl some tennis, and she is going to go up against the other ones because she's, like I said, the outcast, and they're the elite ones. So we go up against the first girl, and then he just randomly goes like, okay, well, if she wins, if my protege wins here, you have to do whatever I tell you to do, and we're off to the fucking races again, right? and it's just skeezy as shit. It's like constantly the dialogue is just like really fucking creepy because he's like it knows what it's trying to do, and I hate it. Oh my god, I hate it. I'm just like, can it just be stupid porn? Why does it got to be this? Oh. Tennis is fun.
There's this YouTube channel called Sex Positive Gaming that I watch occasionally, and she did a little video about it, and I was like, oh, that tennis actually looks pretty cool.
It's good.
Like, and so I sent it your way. I was like, hey, you should check this out. You're like, I already played it, my man. It's too much for me.
It's too much. It's too much. Like I said, I'm all about that idea. Like, that's cool. That's fine. And like like I said, the tennis is actually pretty good. It actually has some pretty good ideas. It reminds me of this is kind of a weird one. It was an arcade game called Capcom Sports Club, and it had a tennis element to it. It was like 3 games in one. It had basketball, it had soccer, and it had tennis. Tennis was the highlight, at least in my opinion. And it plays a lot like that. Where it's kind of like arcadey, you're just kind of Mario Tennis hitting it, but it does also add like the modern tennis game, like, okay, you can hold the button in to power up a shot, but I like the conceit that when you do that, your character slows down, so you still have to kind of like time it just right and be in the right spots. And there's like, trick shots and stuff that'll stun them. Now this element I'm fine with in a porn game. Like when you hit them with like the trick shots, if it hits them, it will sometimes remove clothing from them. That's fine.
I mean, that's
par for the course.
Just realism. That just happens.
I mean, really, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's par for the course for that type of stuff. That's funny.
Yeah, that's golf though.
Yeah, that is a golf reference, but you know what I meant. That's how do I make it tennis? Oh God, that's match point.
It's so fun to make you short circuit.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, no, it's just everything around it's just so fucking weird, and you feel like you need a shower after you fucking read the dialogue in it, and I'm just like, oh, I don't like that. That's not okay. Like I felt somehow better playing fucking Snow Days than I did this game. Like at least Snow Days is a slow burn to some degree. It's not good, it's fucking awful, but like I don't know. Yeah. Tennis Angels EX. There you go. There's my comedy porn game of the week. Probably don't pick that one up unless you really, really need a tennis game. They even have like little power-ups that you can get them and stuff. There's so many good ideas. Why did they have to do that? Like, it's just not good. Okay.
Well, yeah, the other reason that I still ended up playing a little bit of Expedition last night, but not that much. Because I planned to go see the Thunderbolts. Last night, the new MCU movie.
Okay, cool.
Which I don't know if I talked about any MCU in the first season. I'm a huge fan. Of Julian, the MCU. I'm a comic book fan, but sure. I've been like a huge fan of like all of the stuff since Iron Man 1.
Right.
There's only like one movie in the entire MCU where I'm like, that's trash. Yeah. Everything else is like stuff has to be at the bottom, but like, I've liked every other movie except for Thor: Love and Thunder. That is the one that I'm just like, that's straight garbage.
Very noted. Yes.
Yes, I think Eternals is better.
Okay.
But since Endgame, it's been kind of rocky for the MCU.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot of things. One, I think the biggest issue is them going so hard on TV series.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I think that is the major thing that has contributed to like the overall like superhero movie fatigue.
Yeah, I can
is
see
that there's all these shows now.
Now,
right?
Yeah, you have that element, and plus that's a much bigger viewing commitment than a movie, right? Like you're gonna sit down for 10 episodes of this
6 to 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like but
I think someone did an hour count. Like at one point they were like, yeah, like this phase. I think because we're in phase 5 now. So I think phase 4 of the MCU, like total runtime was equal to phase 1 through 3.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a lot.
that's a lot to rewatch. And even for me, it's like, because a lot of that stuff is only on Disney Plus, I don't factor it into a rewatch. I did buy WandaVision because that was available physically.
Sure.
And that's been one of my favorites of the shows. So I have that like on my pile.
Yeah.
But I kind of stalled out on when I got my new TV in 2023, I started an MCU rewatch, and I watched Doctor Strange, and then I kind of stalled out there because video games.
Yeah, I know that.
But I think another problem that I've, because there have been a lot of movies since Endgame where I've been like, that's one of my favorite MCU movies. Like I really loved Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I really loved the third Spider-Man movie, which I never remember the name of.
Yeah.
I loved Shang-Chi. So there's been like some really good stuff in there, and then there's been some stuff where it's like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like it kind of doesn't do the job. And I think one of the big things is that they just started to, like, since the beginning of the MCU, like, their end credit sequence was always like teeing up like the next movie.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they were just like, no, we're just gonna like introduce like random characters where it's like it's gonna make the fans like pop, and it makes me pop, right? It's like, they fucking had Ed Sheeran show up at the end of Eternals as Star Fox / Eros. And I was like, I can't believe that I just saw that character like on the big screen. He's like, a Titan like Thanos.
Okay.
But like, he's a really weird character because like his smile seduces people. Like that's his power.
Oh boy.
And they had Pip the Troll in that same scene, and I'm like, what is going on? But it's just been like random shit where it's like, there's Beast from X-Men. It's like, fuck, that's an actual X-Man like in the MCU, but it's like, but connected to nothing, right?
Okay.
And I think the movies themselves have been fine as far as like, a lot of people, like I've told you before, have complained about like, they're just setting up other movies and blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, like the movies are still self-contained. Like they just have the thread for other stuff, which is how the comics used to be, right? Like
that's fine,
and I'm fine with that. Like I maintain that you don't have to watch everything to get stuff.
Sure.
Because they when they have other characters show up, they tend to be pretty well explained.
Yeah.
So that's all to say, because like I had actually seen Captain America: Brave New World, which I really enjoyed, but I ended up forgetting to talk about it. So
that's fine.
Just know that came out a bit ago. I enjoyed it.
There you go.
I like, and we're moving on. Thunderbolts is like I think one of the hardest sells. So this has happened a few times, right? Before Guardians of the Galaxy came out, it was like, ooh, that's a hard pitch for like your average consumer.
Yeah, right.
Guardians of the Galaxy is out there, and also I wasn't familiar with most of the characters that comprise that team. I was familiar with the old team from the 60s.
Sure.
Which is a much different beast.
Absolutely.
But even so, it was still like, that was not a guarantee. But it
paid
did gangbusters.
Worked out, yeah.
Yeah. Ant-Man was another pretty big swing.
Ant-Man,
and again,
yeah.
They did really well with that. I was impressed. They didn't do well with Eternals, but I thought Eternals was actually fine as like a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
It's just, they've never been like interesting characters to begin with, so it was a weird choice.
Have that, yeah.
But this one was like, ooh, I don't know about this, because it's like you've got the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, who
Okay,
you've got Yelena, who is Black Widow's sister.
Okay, yeah. Though
She doesn't have a code name in the MCU.
We're already reaching. That feels like it, yeah.
You've got the Red Guardian, who is Yelena's like fake father, who is basically the Russian version of Captain America.
Okay, sure.
You've got, and man, and it bugs me they didn't call him this. I one of my big problems with the MCU has been they refuse to use the names.
Okay,
but he's the U.S. agent. He was originally the second Captain America, but then he murdered a dude like when he was hopped up on super soldier serum.
U.S. agent existing, yeah.
Yes. John Walker, but they only call him John Walker, but it's like, just call him, it's fine. They can have code names.
Yeah.
Ghost, who was the villain in the second Ant-Man movie.
Okay, sure.
She has phasing powers.
Why not?
And Taskmaster, who was the villain in the Black Widow movie.
Oh, wasn't Kevin Sullivan?
No.
Oh, okay, well,
yeah.
Missed opportunity, really, but you know.
So you've got 3 flavors of Captain America, and then you've got 3 flavors of female mercenary.
Sure.
And it's like, okay. Oh, and then you have Bob, but that's kind of a like, I'm not going to get deep into that because it's like the kind of the thrust of the movie.
Sure, yeah.
If you know, you know. And so that's a pretty hard sell. And I don't know much about the actual Thunderbolts in the comic. I know the gimmick was that they were villains pretending to be heroes.
Okay.
But I think part of it was that I think they thought they were doing good. Like, I think they thought that they were like being rehabilitated. But Norman Osborn, you know, from the Spider-Man books, was like the leader behind it all. And I think he was manipulating them into doing actual villain shit, but they thought they were doing hero shit. I think that's the concept of the original comic.
Okay, I could see that working.
Yeah, it's come back a couple times and reformulated, so you know it's changed a couple times. But I think that was the original like pitch for the first version of the comic. Like I think Hawkeye was on the team, so that added like some legitimacy to them being heroes. But I think he got duped as well, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah,
this is definitely not that. I actually really enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I think this movie does a couple things that has been a little bit lost in the MCU recently. One of which is focusing on the emotional core of the characters.
All right.
There's been some of that in these movies, but like I think they've, you know, really been big on, well, they've been really big on the multiverse shit, and I'm kind of over it. And it was nice to be like, to have a movie where it's like, no, we're not, you know, no extra dimensional stuff,
Sure.
no multiverse stuff, you know, like there's a much more grounded story for more grounded characters.
Yeah.
Yelena is pretty much the main character, and that's a great choice. Florence Pugh is just awesome as that character.
Okay.
Like when she first showed up in the Black Widow movie, like I fell in love with her instantly because, you know, like there was like kind of, I don't know if it was ever a running gag. I never liked Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow. And one of the things that I always hated about her portrayal as a character is she would always like, after she would do like any move, she would kind of pose.
She does. She does like a pose. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was like the direction she was given or that's just how she ended up like doing it.
Yeah.
But there's a part in the Black Widow movie where Yelena is like, why do you do that? Like, she's like, what? It's like every time that you do something, you like strike a pose. Like, it's just so weird. And I was like, oh, that's really funny. And then later on, like towards the end of the movie, like Yelena like comes out of like an air shaft or something, and she like lands in a really cool pose.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, and she like shakes it off. She's like, oh, that feels so gross. Oh,
that's good. Yeah, that's a good.
She's
bit.
a great character.
I like that. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. Florence Pugh does a great job with her. She came back during the Hawkeye series and like she was great there. So like, you know, making her like the kind of the core of this movie was like the right way to go.
Right.
But she's basically been doing like black ops for this one politician played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who's been like a recurring character in mostly the TV series.
Okay, got you.
Yelena's like, I don't want to do this like skunk work stuff anymore. I want a more public facing thing. Like I want to be a hero basically. And she's like, okay, sure. Like do this one last job for me. And we'll talk about, something more heroic. You know, she's told to go to this like secret black ops base that they have and like basically figure out who's trying to steal something and take them out, and then it's good. But basically what it turns out to be is like all the different people that have been in these various shows and movies that have worked for this character in the past were all sent there at the same time to basically, wants to kill them all and like wipe the slate.
Right. Okay.
And so they figure out pretty quickly that they've been tricked, and they end up having to kind of work together to escape this situation. And then just through a series of events, they're just constantly like kind of forced together in a way where they don't want to be together, but like it's the nature of the thing. And they end up working really well as a team. And another high point is David Harbour from Stranger Things playing Red Guardian. He's like the comedic core of the movie, and he's really solid in it as well. Nice. I'm not going to spend much longer on it, like, because I think the actual like core plot of the movie is actually a spoiler. So
yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, like I didn't know, who. I had an idea about who like the antagonist of the movie ultimately was, but I was like, I don't know if I like that, considering that this is the team. But it ended up working out really well.
That's good.
I really enjoyed it, and then it was refreshing to have a post-credit scene where it was like, oh, that's actually teeing up the next movie, like they used to do. That,
right? Yeah.
That feels so like quaint and refreshing.
Right.
But I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. It's not it's not going to blow you away, but it felt right. And it was nice to have a movie that was like lower stakes than the last few have been, and to not have the last act of the movie just be this ginormous like big CG battle that looks not all that great because Disney doesn't want to pay VFX artists shit.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do recommend it, and then I'm very excited for Fantastic Four this summer, because that's looking like it might finally be the Fantastic Four that should have always been portrayed on the big screen.
Yeah, they deserve a break, that team.
They do.
Yeah.
They're such a core of Marvel.
Right. No, if you read like almost any of the comics, like they constantly get mentioned. At least I always thought that. Like,
they're called the first family for a reason.
Like they're in everything, and then they get a movie and like, oh boy. Yeah.
So hopefully this third time will be the charm for them, or I guess technically fourth time if you want to count the movie that never officially got released, but we don't talk about that. But I did want to talk briefly about some of the news that broke today.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which is that Xbox announced like major price increases for hardware across the board, including the Series X jumping by a full $100.
Oh, yeah. Gotta do it, Julian.
Yeah. And now, look, we live in unprecedented times. I don't know if you realize, Justin.
I didn't know that. I'm glad you told me. I'm glad I learned here first.
Yeah. I'm so sick. Man, I'm tired of being in unprecedented times. I saw a thing where it was like, someone was talking about like, I never realized that the term "may you live in interesting times" was such a curse.
Yeah, right.
Like intended to be a curse. It's like, oh no, I don't want to live in interesting times.
No, you really
let's make
don't.
it boring as shit.
No.
But obviously, a lot of this has to do with like all the tariff shit and like trade wars and possible supply chain issues because people not shipping to the States.
Yeah. No,
from certain places and stuff like that.
It's going to be very interesting how this all plays out.
It is. Yeah. Because, like I saw a headline today that was like the last like shipment from China that was not affected by tariffs has just landed. So like, there's the clock starts now as far as like when prices jack up, but also when stuff starts to be scarce.
Yes.
Because, we're not getting certain things anymore.
Yep.
Yep. So that'll be interesting.
Goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, that makes sense. I think it is funny that Xbox is the first one to do this, because it's like, yo, people aren't buying your systems anyway.
Yeah.
And if anything, this was the year where you probably had an opportunity to gain some ground in that respect because you're kind of killing it with like the stuff that you've been releasing lately.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the worst time to do this. Like, I get it. And I saw something and it bears mentioning, because I think people might not realize this, is that back in the day, like no one was making money off of hardware. Like including Nintendo up until I think either the GameCube or the Wii was where Nintendo was like, no, we're tired of like losing money or breaking even on the hardware. We're making profit now.
I feel like it was probably the Wii.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah, that feels
mainly because
right.
I remember like selling the GameCube, and like the thing about the people might not know in retail is also like, what you pay is what the retailer paid.
Right.
At least it used to be. I don't know how it is now.
Right. Okay.
But over time, and I think as far as like the other companies, I think it's been the last 2 generations, they have been making money on the hardware up front. Like, because the way it used to be is that you were either going to break even, you were going to like basically sell the systems at cost or even at a slight loss initially in order to get the install base there, make money on accessories and software, and then as it became cheaper to produce the systems, you would eventually get to a point where you were actually making money on them.
Yeah, or if you needed to gain ground, you could lower the price and go from there, which a lot of them would do in later stages of the console generation, from my memory anyway.
Yeah, well, both would happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would get to a point where it's like, okay, we're making profit, but also we can afford to lower the price and still make profit and get, different demographics of people that are kind of waiting for that.
There was a ton of people that I knew that, would not even really intentionally, they would just like, oh, I can afford that now. That seems right. And would buy, randomly a PlayStation 2 or whatever at the end of its lifespan. Like, I just got the PlayStation 2. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
For a long time, the $99 price point was like the big thing, right? Like,
for sure.
Once the system dropped to $100, like that was, you would see like that last huge push of console sales before the end of a generation.
Yeah. That
hasn't happened. Like, the PS4 generation, like those systems really didn't go down in price much at all.
I'm not even sure that PlayStation 3 and 360 really did that much. I know they did eventually.
They did,
but
they didn't go down as much.
Not as much as like a lot of that other stuff.
Yeah, they never. I don't know that they ever dropped below 200.
Yeah,
but they still dropped by a fair amount.
They dropped for sure, but yeah.
And this has been the first. Well, no, I take that back. So last generation in other countries, a couple like systems like went up in price, and you also have the advent of like the half step generational consoles. So that kind of that kept the price high across the board, because like they did drop like the base models a little bit, but then you have this other SKU that was basically like, oh, we're still getting full price for the system halfway through the generation. Now we're seeing it where prices are just going up like mid-generation. Like Sony has raised prices in certain countries, and that was before all this tariff shit.
Yep, they avoided the US. Yeah,
I expect that to change very shortly.
Yeah, me too.
But I am really surprised that Xbox was the first one to pull the trigger on
especially because they could actually gain ground by being like, no, ours is the same price. No, shut up. Like, maybe they lose some money, but like they have a lot of ground they need to make up. But so
that announcement, along with, hey, Game Pass is killing it right now, and also we've got a lot of exclusives that are, well, again, I always say that, but they keep I think they keep releasing those exclusives multi-platform too quickly. It is what it is. Again, they're clearly not interested in staying in the dedicated hardware business.
I don't think they are, and that might be part of the reason why they're raising prices. Also, Microsoft is huge. Microsoft just outside of Xbox, just big, huge corporation that you can't always just put it like I could see the people at the Xbox part of Microsoft being like, no, if we saying the things we're saying right now, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
if we can keep it at the same, but then, Big Papa Microsoft being like, nah, fuck that, guys. we're not, I don't care how bad the timing is. We're doing this.
And it makes you wonder, right? Because Microsoft is a big enough corporation where they could definitely like subsidize this part of the business.
They could, yeah.
And write it out for, until things are better.
They could, but
I wonder it, because of the huge Activision Blizzard sticker.
Yeah.
If that's where they're like, no, you're already in the hole
you're
much.
Already in the hole. Maybe we're trying to get out of there. This part of the thing with the hardware part of it, that it very much could be a thing. I think the bigger thing for me is the games part. Like the hardware I understand. The games part of it is a little surprising, I would say.
And that was the next part that I wanted. And really the thing that I wanted to focus on is that they also announced that by the end of the year, they'll be releasing like a lot of their like, AAA type tier stuff at $80.
Yeah.
And that to me is not tariff related. That to me is them looking at Nintendo being like, okay, like we're here now.
Yeah.
Like let's go ahead and see, like
real fucking quick.
Man,
real quick. People were like pissed at 70, and then all of a sudden, and I was like, yeah, I guess I could, I can see the jump to 70. I totally get it. But then Nintendo was like, no, hold my beer. Let's fucking go. It's when you see the new Mario Kart, listen, you'll know why it's $80. And I'm like, I don't think I will, but okay.
I definitely don't. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sure does look like a Mario Kart.
Sure looks like a Mario Kart, doesn't it, Julian? Yeah, fucking Christ. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. That you can't. There's almost no way you can look at it and go, yeah, they totally ignored the Nintendo stuff. They came to this conclusion that they really wanted to do it on its own. No, Nintendo's doing it, and they're gonna get away with it. We can get away with it probably too. Let's do it.
Yeah,
and here we fucking go. We're off to the races.
And with Xbox in particular, there's probably also some like bit of math where like this will drive X number of people to Game Pass. So we'll see some growth there.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, and it might. It very well might.
We'll see.
But
again, because they have been releasing like some really excellent stuff, and also having like. Look, we just talked almost an hour about Clair Obscur, which is like one of the biggest hits of the year, and that's on Game Pass.
I downloaded it on that and then bought it. So, because I'm a crazy person.
No, I'll end up buying it as well. I'll end up buying a physical copy on PlayStation down the road.
I am happy for that game though. Like they had like not that many physical copies of it, and then it sold out a lot of places, and they've been like, yeah, we promise we're gonna make more and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, that's nice.
Although I do have to take issue with like a lot of like the rhetoric I'm seeing around it.
Sure.
Because it's like unhinged from reality. So like there's been so many takes of like, oh, like the AAA industry is doomed. Like they don't understand what's coming like because
that,
look at it. Like, and I saw this one take where it was like, oh, this game took 5 years with 30 people, and it's been like so much more successful than AAA companies that spend like
calm down.
10 times as much, 10 times as many people and 10 times as long.
Oh no,
and
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like games don't take 50 years to make. No. Also, 5 years is still surprisingly long for a game of this scope.
Yeah.
And 1 million copies is great. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
But that's a drop in the bucket compared to the numbers that a lot of like the AAA games are selling.
That ain't shit on like Call of Duty or anything like that. Like, no.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or Spider-Man or Horizon or Zelda or, Elden Ring, right? These are games that are selling like 10 million, 15 million, 20 million copies.
It's doing great for, its niche and stuff.
It's doing fantastic.
It's doing awesome
for its niche and also for it being a new studio, new IP,
killing it. Absolutely killing
it. Being like a lower scoped game as far as like, size and stuff like that.
Coming out
Great
like
job.
the same fucking week as that Oblivion remaster and all that shit. Like, like overcame all that.
You know they were probably quaking in their boots when they found that out.
They see there and they're like, fuck, man. Now, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, no problem. They're doing great. But
yeah.
No, you're not gonna, dude, no. You're not gonna do the numbers that like a Call of Duty does. You're not gonna do that type of stuff. I guarantee AAA gaming does not give a shit about that. They'll look at it for inspiration and be like, oh, that's really neat. We could maybe do a smaller thing like that, maybe down the road or something like that.
That would be the takeaway that I would hope they would take.
Yes.
Is hey, there is room in the market for
absolutely
different sized games at different expectations,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
I really want Square Enix to realize that and be like, hey,
you and I both. They had that weird couple years where they were putting out random shit and then not really advertising it or doing anything with it and not really giving a shit seemingly about the quality of any of it. But
yeah, they're like, we didn't try and we failed.
We don't know
what to do now.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know it's wild. But yeah, the $80 thing. It's we're here, and I don't think it's going to be very long at all before Sony follows suit. At least on the games front, I could see Sony being like, "No, we're gonna eat the fucking shit for the console," but I don't see why they really need to. I don't know. I think everything's gonna.
They're so far ahead. I could see them, especially because you have to think about the PS5 Pro, where it's like, yeah, that thing's already so fucking expensive that. It would if that thing went up another $100, like I don't think anybody's buying that. It was interesting though because this same day Sony announced the pre-orders for Ghost of Yotei and it's $69, and I'm like, okay, like good move Sony, but I bet by first quarter of next year it's going to be a different story.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm sure this year they'll stick it at 70 and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we don't really know what big stuff Sony has after Ghost of Yotei for the year.
Yeah,
that's coming
really
out, I think, in September-ish. So, and we're getting close to not E3 time, so we'll kind of get a better idea.
They also have the benefit of not, having made the first move here, so they get to see how it goes for Microsoft a little bit. Like, if it completely backfires, and it might, you never know.
Yeah.
It very well could. But if it doesn't, and people are like, "Yeah, no, that's just the times we live in," and then they go, "Oh, well, fuck it, we'll just raise them right with it. Yeah, why not?"
Yeah,
I guarantee it also bears mentioning.
It bears mentioning that as much as people complain about video game prices, that. A lot of people buy games and they're already spending $80 to $100 on games for early access or
the number one
stuff.
Guilty motherfucker about this shit. When that like rumor or whatever came out that like, oh, GTA 6 is about to be $100, I was like, yeah, I bet I'll pay fucking X amount more if it is, or it'll be like the special edition one or something like that. I probably would have paid $100 for it if it was fucking still 60 or 70, if that's the case. Because I'm a sucker. I am. Like, if you show me a nice jacket, I'm like, well, I really would like that jacket, and I can play it 6-7 days early. And what the hell am I gonna do in those 7 days? Not play the game? Like, I mean, I could just be playing the game right now. Yeah, and there's also but there's so much stuff that I could just I'll just give him another $30 because I'm a fucking sucker.
No, I am too. Yeah. Like, I want to say that Alan Wake 2 released for a lower price point than your average, but I know I paid $20 more than that because I got the deluxe edition,
right?
With all the DL or at least the first bit of DLC.
And I especially
I did the same thing for Street Fighter 6.
Right. I especially like to do it if I'm really behind the thing I'm getting. I bought the special edition of Expedition 33 because it came with the soundtrack, and I was like, well, fuck, man, I'm buying that soundtrack. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
That's another big selling point for me. I was like, oh, you have the soundtrack on there? Awesome. I'm in. So, because if I need it for something on here or just to play on a stream or something, that I have it. Like, I like to have things like that. So that's always a big selling point. But yeah. Oh, we'll just see how it plays out. That's all we can do. But
yeah. And look, I mean, it's rough. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and say like, oh, well, you just got to suck it up. No, this sucks, man. And like, you know, I said it, I think, when the PS5 Pro was announced, but it's like, now I'm 100% sure that, like, you know, if next gen starts when it's expected to start, we're still going to be in this shit show, which means that I'm pretty much set that PS6 is going to be $999.
Wouldn't doubt
at
it.
launch.
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Would not doubt that one bit.
Hopefully we get to a point where like systems drop over time again, because, you know, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I think part of it is that, like, they haven't had like as many of the breakthroughs as they used to like reduce the like overhead cost of the production that they had in previous generations. Right. That's my understanding anyway. I could be completely off base on that, and maybe they're just like raking in record amount of profit on the console sales.
Right.
But at a certain point, there's got to be I'm sure there's a break point where it's like people aren't buying these consoles, and the install base is shrinking at like an exponential rate, and we got to do something.
That could definitely happen. So it's tough to say. Yeah, I don't know. Video games are weird, man.
Yeah,
it's a weird time. It's a weird time to be alive and human. If you're alive and you're like, you know, like a leopard, it's probably fine for you. You know, you're just leopard.
I mean, climate change.
Yeah, but like, do you know? You know, do you know?
But like, you're probably not eating as well as you used to.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know what leopards are all about, man. We'd have to get a leopard on the show. We'll talk to him.
Okay, yeah, I'll get on that.
Sounds good.
Well, before we get out of here for the night, we've been sitting on some Comics Questions and Concerns, or CQC, and it's finally time to address some of those. We're not going to get to all of them, but
that's fine.
You know, thank you for your patience. If you want to submit comments, questions, or concerns, there's many ways to get at us. You can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can comment on the show on Patreon or on YouTube if you're, if you have accounts on there. As always, you don't have to be a paid patron to comment on the Patreon episodes. I unlock those for the public on Wednesday mornings. You just need to have an account on there, and you can comment.
Yes.
You can also join our Discord, and there is a channel in there for comments, questions, and concerns. Also, our Discord is a very fun place to be.
Sure.
So consider that. But we're going to start with email. This one comes to us from Extrian, who says, "Hey all, hope things are well. Julian, I'm glad you got a little break from the office. Actually, I just this week we all had to fill out like a new remote work form.
Okay.
And so I was instructed to put 5 days a week remote, with the reasoning being that there's no parking space for me.
Oh, okay.
And eventually that will change, but who knows how long that's going to be.
Yeah.
And then once that changes, like, I'm allowed to select up to 2 days a week remote.
Okay.
And then the rest will be in the office. I really took umbrage with some of the with this bit of wording, though, because one of the director of our department was like, you can't pick Monday and Friday because I don't want you to have a 4-day weekend. And it's like, it's not a 4-day weekend. Like, are you suggesting that I don't work?
Yeah.
Like, It's just I want to avoid like the 2 worst days of traffic of
right.
Monday is the worst day of traffic.
Probably.
Friday is podcast night, so I would rather be able to not have to deal with traffic on Friday.
Can you pick one or the other though?
You can pick one or the other.
Okay,
you just can't do both.
There you go. Well, at least there's that.
But hopefully, so we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He says, hopefully they just let you work from home. Anyways, hearing Mike Fallick's message to Justin based off a local ad got me wondering, what are some of your local ads like? It's funny when people around the area make jokes based off stuff no one outside of a few counties would recognize.
Yeah.
For example, here in Northwest Indiana, we had an ad on TV called with a crappily drawn superhero called Lantern Man. He was some street lantern with a cape and saved people money or some crap. The local lawyer hero, Crook, is Peter Francis Scaracci. So whenever something happens where you're so screwed you need a lawyer, the joke is that not even PFG can get your ass out of that one.
Okay.
Keep up the great work.
Oh, man. Local commercials are one of my favorite things. I fucking love local commercials. They're the big ones around where I live. This one tried to become an internet meme, actually, and got pretty close. I don't know how well it got known outside of it, but it was pretty local for a long time. I can't remember the guy's name. Tim Misney. He was a lawyer.
I think you've mentioned him before.
Tim Misney?
Yeah.
He's a lawyer who he's a bald guy and he would make them pay. That's Tim Misney. It was like it tried. It did try to they tried to get it but it's so iconic around here that I'm pretty sure this is where it might have come up. They had billboards that were just his eyebrows. That's all they put on the billboard, and you knew who it was and what it was. Mm-hmm. It was actually impressive. Let's see, older ones. I don't. Some of these I always have a mystery thing going on with these. If some of them were local or not too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll mention it and then somebody's like, no, that's totally a thing. I know that. We had one of my favorites was it was kind of a bigger thing and had a good run. There was the Scuba Steve. He sold car stereos. And he was Scuba Steve. That was really it. He would end the commercial by saying turtle turtle. Don't ask me why. I don't really know why. Never explained it. Didn't really need to. We had, let's see, some of my favorite one. One of my personal favorite ones was on the radio actually, and it was So Julian, you and I do a podcast. We have microphones that work. But what if you were going to make a commercial for your business, and you just didn't get one of those, and you just recorded it from the fucking camera mic? And I'm sitting there listening to it. This is on the fucking radio. Like, I know the radio's not as big as it used to be, but still, you're making a commercial for your business. And this guy is just like you can almost hear everything in the background, like he's recording in a fucking hallway. And I'm just like, bro, just fucking go to Staples and buy like a half of a microphone. Please just try to make it listenable. Mm-hmm. But no, fuck it. We'll just I can use an audio recorder and just tape myself recording this. I don't even remember what it was a bad commercial. I just remember him doing it. I think it was like some kind of like bail bonds or some shit. Not even that. It was weird. Yeah, local commercials are great. I'll try to think of more as we go here.
It was because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, so I don't actually see a lot of local commercials lately, except when I go to the movie theater that I go to, because it's a local Texas chain, but it's a pretty small local Texas chain, and so their pre-show like ads are like all like right around like the business is right around the area where this theater is. So I get a bunch of them there, but I'm thinking of older ones because, like, you know, back when I used to watch TV, and those were like the more fun ones because they were also like shittier quality because like that's just the nature of it, right? So like, I remember ABC Pest Control, and this is one of those things where it's also like, you know, people who haven't lived here forever don't know the history, right? Because ABC Pest Control is still around. Yeah. ABC Pest Control. Or now it's Pest and Lawn. But like back in the day, they had this guy, he was like the bug man. I think they called him the bug man actually. He was like a heavy set, balding, middle-aged guy with glasses and an underbite and real bad teeth.
That sounds like the bug man.
And he would say, "We'll kill your bugs." And like that, like, and it was like ABC Pest Control, kill your bugs.
He'll do
and
it.
Like that was pretty much it. But like he was around for
all you need,
long time. And then I actually did find it because just you need this, and I'll probably put it in the show now that I can find it.
It might be one that you showed me before. We've talked about local commercials.
We've talked about this on Nerds Without Pants.
So yeah. Okay.
But every once in a while, and friend of the show John Gholson is like, he's about to have a like he's gonna be, oh shit. Let's see, can I I don't want to send.
You can send messages will appear here. It does say that.
No, but it says send us a message.
Well, send us a message.
But I want to send Justin a message.
No, what if you send it to them? Just send it to them anyway. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Messages from the team.
Yeah, from the team. From us.
Wait, hold on. What is this?
I don't know.
No, I don't want your AI chat.
I don't know. Mine just says message.
Yeah,
Here, look, I'll
what
type in the word message. Let's see if Julian can read it. We don't know. This is new tech for us. Look,
it is new
there
tech.
It is. I said message. It says message.
Why won't this go away?
I don't know. That's what I typed.
Go away.
At 1:15 a.m. Oh yeah. Hold on. While we're doing this. That's not the right button. Edit that out. Edit that out. That never happened. Never happened.
Okay, can I just type in here? No, it's not letting
While
me.
Julian's contemplating that, I'd like to
Wait, but how did you type in the chat?
I don't know. It's just in the window, man. It's like to the right where I'm at, right underneath your face. It'd be your face here.
No, I see that, but like I don't see a place to actually type
down there where it says message.
Oh, see, this is because the fucking I hate the way the Windows like taskbar will sometimes just like
the Windows taskbar is over it.
Stay put, and it's like just go away.
Yeah, no. Why would it do that, Julian? While Julian's typing a message, I would like to talk about. Did you? I'm sure you did. I'm sure everybody had this. Do you remember the preview channel?
Oh yeah.
They used to show a lot of local ads on, and they used to have like a big long, like half hour like infomercial about the area that I live in or live around. And
I miss infomercials.
Yeah, and it was made for tourists, right? So it was just nothing but information. Most of it was about the islands out on Lake Erie. One of which was Put-in Bay. To this day, I will never forget fucking one Pat Daly, who I think is somehow still alive. I don't understand how. He was old then and he was a drunk. So I don't know how he's still living. If he is. I'm not going to look up if Pat Daly's still alive, and I don't know if the internet knows the answer to that. So here we are. But he made songs about the area, Julian. And he was fun. You can go see him on Put-in Bay. Go do it. And then
no, you can't make me.
Why not? He's fun. He's Put-in Bay.
I sent you a link.
Time. Yeah, no, I'm watching it
to this commercial. So every once in a while, I wonder what Dr. S from Custom Sounds is doing right now, because he was a fixture of like Austin TV for a while.
I see Dr. S from Custom Sounds is in the house with technician certified MECP. Custom Sounds is the place to be. You see, you gotta get to Custom Sound. You're not dealing with them fools, you're dealing with pounds. The sound you're gonna get make you delirious. Our stereo selection is serious. This week's special is bad. Makes our competition mad. We glad. Lowest prices in town. Better service all around. That, my man, is Custom Sound.
His stereo selection is serious. Okay. Yeah, no, I get it.
For the listeners, because I am going to lay the audio in there, but he's as white as you think he is. He's wearing a red beanie, which makes him kind of look like
what year was
real
this?
life Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah,
what's that?
What year is this? Hold on.
I want to say around 98.
Okay, yeah. Like, it feels before Eminem, right? Like,
I'm pretty sure it's before Eminem.
Yeah.
Or might have been like right as Eminem
around that time. Okay. I just for context, because like it's not it's of a style.
Yeah.
It's of a style. It's gone now. It's super gone. I was gonna ask if something was national, but I don't know if it was. I know I don't think the Glass Doctor was just local. Was the Glass Doctor local, Julian? Did anybody have the Glass Doctor?
I'm not familiar with the Glass Doctor.
Call the Glass Doctor, he'll fix your pains. And we got
but I really appreciate that on a fundamental level.
We have the women singing it. That's probably why I hate puns to this day, is that fucking commercial, actually. Yeah.
All right, Justin. For this one, we're going to the Discord, and you're going to need to. I recommend going, like, bringing up the Discord, the comments, questions, and concerns channel.
Okay.
Because you're going to need to actually look at this.
Oh boy,
it's a thing that's 60.
Okay, well, anything they have
put in.
And whatever they want to do here. Okay, where's is it in the comments? Okay, Discord always likes to load up weird here. Okay, all right, okay. I think
it's from April 14th.
April 14th. That was many days ago. Okay, it warped me right there, so we're good.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Excellent. All right.
So 60 says pick 3, and so I'm going to list off the games that are pictured in this picture. Yeah. That is wonderful radio. Super Mario, Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Road Rash,
sure,
Kirby, Yoshi, Ace Combat, Sonic the Hedgehog, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Mega Man, Tetris, Saints Row, Donkey Kong, Earthworm Jim. Some of these do not belong with the others. Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Doom, Castlevania, Crash Bandicoot, Bully. That's a singular game.
That's one
Streets
game?
of Rage, Monster Hunter, Rayman Call of Duty is how that looks.
That is how that looks. No, you're not wrong. I want Rayman Call of Duty now. That I don't know.
Oh man, don't we all?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Halo, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, Spyro the Dragon, Fallout, Need for Speed, Grand Theft Auto, Def Jam Vendetta.
Okay, hold on.
Metal Gear Solid.
Time out. That's okay. Are these franchises? Is that the?
So let me finish.
Go ahead.
God of War, Tomb Raider, Ratchet and Clank, WWE 2K.
Okay, sure.
Now, based on the way that these are presented, I am assuming these are franchises because there is no game called Super Mario. Nor is there a game called
But here's where it gets murky, right? Def Jam Vendetta was one fucking game.
It was, but I think it's because there's no just like Def Jam.
There's a Def Jam logo. There was literally a fucking record label. You could just put that. I know what you meant.
Yeah, I mean, these things. I know you are right, but you know how these things are.
I know.
Yeah,
and it bothers me. So what are we doing?
We're picking 3, and again, I think we're picking
what?
franchises.
To do what with?
Just which of these 3 would you pick? Just like that's what you get, and the rest, I guess, go away.
All right. I guess. Sure. Fucking fine.
Yeah.
Why not?
This is super easy for me. I can go first.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, and Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Done.
Sure. I will pick all the worst ones I could possibly think of if all the rest are going away, just to ruin video games for people who made this picture. I'll pick Earthworm Jim. Let's see what Bully, I guess, because it has one game, and Donkey Kong just to spite Julian.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thought you were gonna go with Road Rash.
If I'm picking, Road Rash was pretty bad. How many Road Rashes were there? Were there like 3 of them?
There's like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed like one of them on like the Genesis, like at a friend's house a few times. Like they were okay, but like they were never anything you wanted to play more than like for like an hour. Okay, no, serious picks. I guess Street Fighter for sure. I know WWE 2K is very tempting for me to pick, but I wouldn't pick it because I don't want to ruin video games. Mass Effect probably. Yeah, Mass Effect. Why not? Yeah, Final Fantasy. Sure. Yeah. Street Fighter, Mass Effect, Final Fantasy. Okay, there. I picked 3. I don't know what ancient god I've summoned by doing this. 60. This is a ridiculous request of us.
And you should be ashamed of yourself.
Really? No, honestly. Like, what are we doing? Like, just pick 3 of them, man. No, give me an ultimatum.
This is one of those things where I lately I've really been cognizant of the fact that I'm online more than a lot of the people that I associate with, and this is one of the perfect examples of it. Because I see this shit all the time online, but I'm on the internet a lot more than just.
If you're gonna do like this, no, I've seen this a lot too. No, 100%. This type of shit's all over Reddit too. Don't get me wrong. Normally, the ones I like half-ass enjoy are the ones where they give you like a monetary amount of money and they're like, you gotta spend this much to get a thing, and I'm always like, okay, yeah, no, there's actually some thought to be had here. No, there's math, and this is good. Not just pick 3 of them. Why? What am I picking 3 for? Because fuck all the rest of them. Okay, great. Okay, whatever.
I disagree with the statement that there's math and this is good. But otherwise, I agree.
No, you're right. I misspoke. I deeply apologize to all our listeners.
All right. 60's got another one, but we'll save that for next time.
Okay, great.
Everybody gets 1.
Is it? I was going to say, is it another one of pick 3? Why? I want more. You know what? Everyone say.
You know that they're going to send exactly what you just talked about.
Pick 3s. I'm in. We'll pick 3 for fucking hours. I'm here for it.
This one comes to us from Dennis75, who says, okay, guys, here's one. What is your favorite beer? Don't drink beer? Okay, what's your favorite alcohol instead?
Okay.
Imagine you're eating a super tender steak and you wanted something to wash it down with. What is it? For me, I would have a nice, strong IPA, not a certain brand, just strong on the hops.
Oh, man.
Hope everyone responds, but make sure it's in the appropriate channel. Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Dennis, because, man, this thing is clogged.
Man, so I want to point out that I love how, and I don't mean to insult Dennis here, I mean this in the best possible way, but beer snobs always reveal themselves in the end like they can't help themselves. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Nature is healing. I'm gonna disappoint him because I don't really drink. I'm not a big drinker at all.
Same.
Yeah.
I really don't like beer. I don't like most alcohol in general.
Yeah.
If you twist my arm, I'll order a rum and coke.
Sure, that's pretty good.
But I prefer just fruity drinks because at least then I can't really taste the alcohol.
Very fair, very fair. And I do have a drink of. I'll give them both. All right, I do have a drink of the choice. I would say I have a couple actually. I'm a big fan of mixing vodka. I drink like I'm in high school. I'm a big fan of mixing vodka and like Coke or cherry Coke, vanilla vodka, mind you, because then you get the vanilla and it mixes with the Coke, and it's like a vanilla Coke. It's really not, but it's close, and it tastes pretty good. I once had I once used to argue with people that mixing Mountain Dew and Captain Morgan's rum is actually pretty good, better than it has any right.
That sounds
to be.
obscene.
It does. Better than it has any right to be. It's weird. I'm not saying try it. I'm just saying I drank it once out of because that's all I had, and I was in high school, and I was like, I would drink this again. This is actually pretty okay. Not my favorite thing though. No, my actual favorite drink, if I'm gonna make a fucking drink, is a White Russian. I really like those. They're actually pretty good. And beer, I enjoy a Corona with a lime in it. I'm not much of a beer snob, but those are good. I don't know why, but that's what I used to get when I would go to I would get Coronas and then sing karaoke. That was a big thing I liked to do at the bar.
I think a big thing for me is that my first job was a carry out at a supermarket.
Sure.
And the garbage juice is the thing, because you would have a lot of people where I worked where they would buy a bunch of beer and then they would immediately transfer it to their cooler because they were going wherever. But if one of them broke or something like that, that would go in the trash, and then it would mingle with all the other liquids and trash. And then I'm in Texas, so it's in the hot Texas sun, and it's vivid sense memory of the garbage juice. That turned me off of alcohol for a really long time.
And as it would. Mine is admittedly watching people I love and care about destroy themselves with it. So that's why I don't really drink very often, but what are you gonna do?
Next up from Xavier, what is your ideal movie theater placement as far as seats for normal and IMAX, if you guys go to them as well?
Furthest away from anybody else.
Mine is as close to the center as I can get.
Yeah, for most people. I used to be a big fan of sitting up towards as high up as I could get. I don't know why I'm like that, but that's what I used to like to do. But again, I just would go where other people were not, and where I didn't think they would be at. Where I was okay, so off to the random side is where I would take. Because nobody's going to go over there and bother me.
So I actually pre-bought my tickets for my ticket for Thunderbolts, because I was it's opening night, you never know. And it was actually surprisingly full because it was 11 in the morning when I bought my ticket.
That is actually
I was I'm glad that I did this. And I tried to because there was a bunch of people in the middle of the theater that had taken the seats, and I was okay, well, let me sit off to the side here. But it wouldn't let me leave one seat empty.
Yeah.
And I was so I ended up just having to sit directly next to somebody, even though there was once the movie started, the rest of the row was empty, but I'd also ordered food that was being delivered to my seat, so I couldn't move.
I see. Okay, your movie theater going experience is vastly different from mine, because everything sounds so fancy. You're ordering food and shit. I was I've never done that at a movie theater once in my life.
Look, this is the home of the Alamo Draft House. What can I
know.
tell you?
It sounds so intriguing when you describe these things, Julian. I'm always so taken aback, because no, mine is just I don't know. You just go and pray nobody's next to you. Now the assigned seating thing, that is still a thing. And thank God for it. But because used to you just walk in and be okay, where are people not at? Okay, I'll go over there. I
kind of miss that though. I miss being able to just select where you want to sit when you get there.
Yeah, I do too, because it also added an element of we gotta when a thing that was where the lines would come from for the fucking movies, right? In the old midnight
that is
stuff.
true. It's been a long time since I waited in a line before a movie started.
Because you don't have to now. You have your seat. You go to your seat. You're done. Now before it was no, we got to go there early, or else we're gonna be fucking wherever crammed around a bunch of weirdos, and I don't want to do that.
Oh man, my friend Joe, he camped out at Cinemark for like 24 hours to get our episode 1 tickets.
I believe it. Yeah. Back in the day. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually have a picture of him from there. I went to go. I think I brought him like breakfast.
Nice.
I have a picture of him from
That's
just
fun.
waiting on the curb,
That's
waiting
fun.
to get buy our tickets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Xavier has some more, but we'll save those.
Okay.
We'll close out with this one from Casey,
Oh
who
boy.
says, "Who would win in a fight between the two of you?"
Julian would. That's for sure.
See, I would say that like if I could get my hands on you, there's a chance because I could like you're so like spindly,
Yeah.
but you've got that thug in you, and I feel like you just wrap some chains and
I will wrap some chains. That is true. I mean,
yeah. So I think it would be Justin.
I don't know about that. I think Julian is far bigger than I feel like anybody out there listening would expect, because I talk to him. I look at him all the time, every week, in fact. And I was still shocked when I met him in person and was like, "Yo, my man, big, holy shit!"
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Like it's weird that I deleted the picture that we took.
Yeah,
because I routinely delete pictures, but like I think I only posted it on Twitter.
Oh
which,
yeah,
like no way of finding it now.
Right.
And I wish I had it because I would post it in the Discord because. I was not prepared for Justin to be as small as he was.
Yeah, no, I'm only like 5'6". I'm the fucking short guy. I know that.
Yeah,
I
skinny,
embrace
like
it.
super skinny.
Yeah, I embrace that about me. But yeah, Julian is very tall. He's got every advantage. Like, come on.
I
Not even.
What it really comes down to though is that we like neither of us would throw hands because we're so timid.
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know. There have been moments where I was like, I will fight that dude right now. I'll fucking do it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, see, and although I've got a pretty bad temper, so I've definitely like almost gotten into it a couple times.
Yeah. I feel like it could happen. You never know.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a show, Justin.
That's probably a show, Julian.
Actually, pretty good length considering that we already recorded
I was just going to say, it's anybody out there going, well, it's a little shorter this time. I'm like, honestly, personally, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of love the 2 hour when I hit just about 2 hours. Like that's my favorite length of this podcast because I don't feel worn out. But we already recorded an hour and 40 something minute podcast about a different thing before this. So that was perfect length.
Don't say we never do nothing for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Justin, where can they find you on the internet?
Twitch.tv/Tyrone Swift for Twitch streams. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. If I'm doing anything, who knows? And YouTube at Tyrone Swift TV. That's where you can find things.
Go check out his Daryl Strawberry build on Oblivion. That was very funny.
I had a man. It's video shit bums me out sometimes because I'm like, I feel like that was a good stream or a good video, and then nobody watches it. And I'm like, oh man, it's such a bummer.
You never know, right? Like
you don't. That's the weird thing. You'll put like every time I'm like, oh man, that fucking stream sucked. Like I got through it and it was probably fine, but like no, I don't expect anybody. Nobody's gonna care. And then like it'll randomly some people watch, like more people than I expect will watch. I'm like, really? Like okay. Sure, why not?
My review of this bed we made on our YouTube channel constantly gets views like every day. It's like over 500 views at this point. I'm like, I don't know how that's happening. It must be one of the only reviews of this bed we made on YouTube.
Probably, yeah. It's hard to say. Yeah.
But yeah, the Daryl Strawberry build was something
special.
Daryl
Strawberry was out there fucking doing some shit.
Yeah, he was wrapping some chains.
Oh, he was wrapping chains. Man, there's something about especially in the remaster when you just go fists and you're just fucking punching rats in the back of the head that just feels good. I don't know what. I couldn't get inside. I was just giggling every time I did it because they just fucking crumple. Like it's great. And yeah, I had the difficulty turned down slightly, but like, come on.
Yeah. You can find me on Blue Sky. Just search for Julian Titus. The show is on Twitter at Stage Select Pod. Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Also, I meant to mention this earlier, but she now has a Patreon.
Oh, nice.
If you're interested, she's in the recommended page on our Patreon page if you want to find that. Yeah. You know, if you appreciate the music that she has supplied to our podcast, maybe go, throw her a little bit of cash. And yeah, I joined because, like, she's done so much for us over the years, and happy to do so. Yeah, Absolutely. and she kind of started because she was like, for real, like I've got like this weird gap in work right now that hasn't happened in a long time. And
yeah, it happens.
So yeah,
especially in her line of work, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said, like, it's been like I've had consistent work for like X number of years, and this is like the first of this has happened in a while,
for sure.
So it's kind of scary.
I believe it. Yeah.
Thanks as always to friend of the show John Gholson for being our announcer and providing us with our logo and artwork. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.